guys got together with her and a couple of other people.
Evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Council on Aging Board of Directors, 5:35 on
Room is gonna tip over on me.
Tuesday. On Thursday, October 13th. We'll do a quick round of intros. I'm J.D. Miller, Chairman of the Board.
Linda is Director of the Senior Center.
Elaine Shambardi, liaison for the boss.
Molly Brady, board member.
Susan Dravich Kelly, Vice Chair.
Marie Ficker, board member. Susan Pope, board member.
Erin Lamont, Outreach Coordinator, Senior Center.
Aaron, thanks for being here. Everyone's got a packet that Linda's passed along. Can everyone take a quick look at
Pat's minutes, very good.
Pat's minutes?
But sorry I didn't get them out earlier for your review.
And tonight's secretary is who?
So who did this last one?
That's one.
Yeah. And she did not, of course, they were up on that one.
So Louise been elbowed into.
Well, is there anybody else that wants to do it? Susan, would you like to do it?
Not really, I'd rather
I
get a.
understand, but there are a bunch of not reallys that have been doing it.
We've been rotating
We've been rotating,
secretaries.
so if you take it this time, then you won't have to do it again for 4 months.
Okay, I don't even know names, I gotta, you know, well.
Yeah, you go off of this and.
Yeah, you can actually, if you take the attendance, that's right on this minute.
Okay, so could I pass that around?
Well, it's here, you can just check them
Okay.
off, check off.
My name isn't on here and I will see a lot.
Okay, then I'll.
It would be easier if you just pass it on a piece of paper.
Oh, so it sounds like Marie, you're okay for tonight?
I think Susan's,
Let Marie do it tonight.
Here's the attendance, here's the attendance.
it's right here. It's
And let's
at the
take a
very
look-
top
let's take a look at our
of the
minutes.
minutes.
Oh, using
No.
the previous minutes, okay.
Whoops, I know where it's going to. So when we do the minutes, right here, first page. So when,
What will be easier is, didn't I end up sending around the list of board members with names, addresses?
Yes.
I got check off.
So let's see this one.
But Marie's gonna do it, but just for practice, you might wanna do that, just to get familiar with it.
Okay,
And Laurie's not on there, which needs to be corrected.
Only because she gave her a pass.
I'm just gonna push this thing in the chair, because I
Pass
almost
that.
tripped over it.
I mean, last month, right?
No, I'm
Oh, you were here, but you're not there.
Yeah. JD, do we? Remember?
So that's a correction.
Yeah, so Laurie was here.
Was anyone missing?
What, that's one? I didn't notice, but I didn't do my last
So
one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 9 members now with Susan.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's.
Oh, Janice Lindblom.
Was here last month.
Yeah, Janice was here last time too.
Does anyone have any comments, corrections, edits to last month's minutes? Other than, did we get the attendance correct?
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
I actually like the way it's organized, it's really
Mm-hmm.
nice, the way she did that,
Agreed.
easy to read.
Well, actually, and Susan, you're not on there either. Susan Pope.
Oh, Susan Pope.
So that's the 9 that should be
Okay,
listed in attendance.
And what about, is Dina?
Diaz. So we would add those three to the attendance
So
list.
I would like to make a motion to add Susan and Janice Lindblom to last month's attendance to correct the minutes.
What about Laurie?
Is Lori not on there?
Laurie's not on there
Okay,
either.
and Nobody else?
Three names.
So I would like to amend your amendment.
That's fine, perfectly fine. I'll second your amendment
Okay.
correction.
So who's missing now?
Laurie,
Laurie,
Janice, and Susan, and you.
But for tonight, we're missing D for now, Pat Carlton,
Leslie.
Leslie
Leslie
James.
James, and
And
Janice
Janice.
Lindblom. But we still have a quorum because we have an majority.
Well, if there are no other corrections to the minutes, like to review the director's report.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, everybody, hi, it feels like you're far away.
I know, it's really weird. I was gonna say the room is gonna tip.
Slightly.
Condensed report tonight, we're lucky to have Erin, and also schedule for having some staff continue to come on a rotating basis, but I did also ask just for future planning, Erica Suarez, who's the social worker, and I think maybe she's been once to the board, but probably not with some of the new members, so she's the town social worker, and she agreed to come in December. Okay.
Good.
But I'll just start out with the report itself. Loving the art exhibit we have right now, but the next one will be really special, and I do a little booklet if anyone is interested in seeing it. But Lucille Sorrentino, formerly on the board, but her husband, who has passed, was an amazing artist, and so it's a retrospective of his work.
Wow.
And so there will be several pieces, and she is planning a nice slideshow presentation lecture in November, on November 8th. She's also planning an open house on Saturday morning, November 19th, because she can sell even the G-clays, and people can order things that they like in this medium. So I think it's something that once people see, they might really enjoy many local scenes from around the area. Anyway, and so I'm sure she has many stories. I
So,
will-
can you pass the booklet? Sure. Yeah, that would be great, thanks.
Anyway, so that will be for November and December, and honestly, the committee, we basically, I think, have maybe one opening next year in November and December, so they've already planned a number of 8-week exhibits for next year already.
That's great.
So, been very helpful. Lucille has stepped off the committee, and we have a new woman, Elise Russo, who's going to step on, so there are 3 people helping me, but doing most of the work, I would say.
Does 8 weeks feel like it's about right? I'm just curious.
It does actually.
Like 6 weeks better than 10 weeks, 8 weeks? I mean,
Well, only if we wanted to add more, so if we get to a point where really we've got kind of a line of people both wanting to be exhibited
Yep.
and or we just have more opportunities that we'd like to take advantage of, we could go shorter. But it's not
But it
bad.
feels all right.
It does.
Good.
The social day program, I have no actual update, only because I'm meeting with the TA next week. It's budget season, I know he's got a lot going on, but he had asked for an updated budget and a little more description, but unfortunately I've been on ice. So I hope that after next week I will have more to talk about, but it is ready to go, and we do look forward to starting it in this room. I know I talked about the Veterans Day luncheon, which is scheduled for November 11th. It is a Friday. They did decide, not that it's a big deal, but just in the event of weather not being ideal, they want to have the music inside, so they'll do their ceremony stuff outside, they'll come inside for lunch. They'll also have their entertainment, one of which is story songs, something that they'll do right after lunch. And then the food pantry has engaged the WSU, whoever shows up, bluegrass band, to come in at 2. And they provide the desserts and things, and last year they did that all outside, and it was great. But this year they're going to actually set up inside as well, which is fine. That way it's just all cohesive and they don't have to worry about the weather.
Yeah.
So,
Linda, if I might ask, so is Keith from Voyage gonna do the food again?
yes, his main man cook is Tom, I think, but I may have that wrong. Yes, they are doing the cooking. We are upping the number that we could allow last year from 90 to, we think, 120 above for the room. I mean, you know, we're trying to build it up for them. They did not like turning anyone away last year, nor did we, but it was what we could do last year.
So the only other thing I wanted to bring up is just in terms of the volunteers. You know, last meeting, we talked about really trying to encourage all of us, you know, to be participating. I went last year, it was really a great event, so.
It was, and I think Laurie was there helping.
Yeah, Laurie
and we
helped,
did do that.
we set up the tables. So that leads me to like, volunteers. I
would love that, and I would have even asked or told them, but they are having the hockey team again now. Last year, we didn't know they were coming, so we were there, you know, en masse, and then we had all these kids, who of course they love to see. So that's what he said to me again, so not to say I couldn't, I'm sure I could use help
Well,
setting tables
Yeah,
again.
the only thing I would say is that when the kids came,
Yeah.
they were looking for somebody to tell them what to do, so. Yeah. So I was telling the fathers,
You're in.
yeah, and then they were,
I mean, honestly, if anyone does want to do that, that would be great. It can't hurt, and just could be more of us than needed, but maybe
But
not.
it's also
Last year,
great.
we didn't expect them, and they all came.
Yeah.
This year, we could plan on them.
Yeah,
And you
Yeah.
never know.
it was great that they were here.
yeah.
So,
But that would be great. It is that Friday.
And what time did it start?
11 outside, and then lunch is at noon, so we would set up closer to 10, 9:30, 10.
Okay.
I'll leave any of the FOSS events in the building for Elaine, and we have only had one evening meeting really in the last month, so it's been quieter. Professional Development MCO conference is actually next week, so Wednesday, myself, Jess, and Erin will be there, and then on Thursday, I'm hoping still to attend myself. We are looking at having to go to a select board meeting, but I do still need to get the particulars from Kennedy Gardens. FOSS is planning to put a tree outside for us, but it does need to go to the select board. And they might change a little bit of what is landscaped beside the bocce court. So instead of all grass, which has been a little bit of a pain just to have benches there and whatnot for people, and there's not enough shade, so this is where they're going to put the tree to provide a little shade for the bocce court.
good.
So that's in the works. And we've been very happy with Jean Young's donations toward the entertainment series in her husband Jim's name or memory. But we've had Mac Brown, the guitarist and singer, come once. He's coming again in October on the 25th, so for the 4th Tuesday series. And then also we are engaging another Matt to come. We decided on November 29th instead of the 22nd, so it's really the 5th Tuesday. But he does stories and songs on the highwaymen, and he's actually quite well known in this area, and he's going to be in Nashville in October.
Wow.
So, straight from Nashville, we're getting him. So I hear good things, and so we're.
There's a direct
doing that.
pipeline usually from Scituate to Nashville.
Yes.
And so what's the venue? In other words, is this gonna be like an evening event, or is this?
It's not, it's an afternoon event at this time. Now, whether it could evolve into something else that is more evening-oriented or coffee house-oriented, maybe. Kind of
So
been
it's like
talking
after
about that.
lunch,
It's
kind
after
of?
lunch. So, just trying to inject a little bit more in that,
Yes.
music and something that might entice people, not everybody. Have some games scheduled, but we did have single scheduled this week, and, well, we had to cancel lunch, which, not to say I was relying on lunch, I wasn't, but that might have appealed to some of them, but they just have to get used to seeing what's on the schedule, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So, we are trying for that, just for another element. We did get some new donations, and going to the select board on next Tuesday to have them accepted, but the Seaside Condominium Community, and they have a volunteer committee, so they have donated $1,285 toward programming and increased educational opportunities, lifelong learning. So that's very
I
nice.
think you knew that last month, right?
I might have, but now I have the check.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's very nice. And believe it or not, a third donation from the Marie Gillis Trust.
Wow.
So $3,500 again, so it's wonderful. And we'll get that accepted and hope to talk with the executor who is sending those checks to us. And just find out, you know, what she might like to have us do with them, if anything in particular. But very nice. Formula grant, so we have for the last, you know, really 11 years, but since the 2010 census, have been operating on the number 4,334 seniors in town. And at the various dollar amounts per elder, so it's been anywhere in my time from $8, $9 an elder up to $12, which has been most recently for the last 3 or 4 years even. So we would have at our disposal $52,000 the last few years at least. And as you know, a lot of that has gone to salary. Well, I have an unofficial, or I guess an unconfirmed but official communication that at $12 an elder, which is expected for this year, we just haven't received the money for this year yet, but based on the new census, it will be the new census, so we're almost over 1,000, so it's 5,543
Elders, and an elder is defined as a
65 and over.
65 and over.
And that's on the state,
And an elder?
2020 census, right?
Yes, so 66,500,
It's gonna go up again 10 years from now.
10 years from now. Yeah, I mean, on our scale, we were pretty much on the money thinking that we were going from low 20% of the population was over 65 to now up to about 32-33%. I think that's pretty much
Which is
on the
what they're
money.
projecting, like 35% of the
Yeah.
population to be over.
So that is good. So, you know, even with the salaries, there's now more of a buffer and more money to use for some things that we just
That's
haven't
great.
figured out about. Again, it's not in my hands yet.
Yep.
So I did do my budget,
Don't spend
and
it.
just a couple of the key points, just so you know where I'm at. I did meet with Jim and Nancy already, but then it goes to the advisory. Well, he will come back with adjustments that he might need to make. And then it goes to the advisory board and the select board. So my goals, which just so you know, are the strategic plan, I talked about it last month, and maybe initiating accreditation, which is really probably, I hate to say a 2-year process, but it's possible, so no 1 or 2 years. Continuing development of new programs and services, and maybe utilizing some survey tools and evaluation tools that we haven't been doing, but I think that it's time after the first year to do that. More staff development, professional development and training, and then adding dementia-friendly awareness to our age-friendly action items. So those are my broad goals. So in terms of personnel, just so you have some numbers, we are up from $247,000 as, you know, broadly, that's what's paying for the staff here. That's the budget for the staff here. It goes up slightly, and that is only based on step increases and 1 reclassification, which just brought her up 1 step. You know what I mean? It's not, there's no added positions, there's nothing really different, but that is the increase. You have the full-time, but also noting that transportation, although she is full-time, her salary is only half on the budget and half through the GATRA budget, so that's money that we get from them. And then the administrative assistant position is technically part-time, but added 10 hours from the formula grant. So she's really part-time. And then activities, volunteer, and outreach is full-time. Erin is full-time. Part-time, activities, volunteer, food service manager, and food service assistant. And technically the administrative assistant is also part-time. And then as part of the strategic plan, I will develop justification for an assistant director, which we also talked about. So then in terms of the building, there's a lot more in there than I have had to sort of include before, but the property maintenance, which has always been the trash and some of the inspections, is really, we really will have more service contracts for all of that. But trash pickup, inspections which are annual or biannual, my internet cable.
Inspections being
Fire
Okay.
stuff,
Yeah, the
fire
building.
protective, you know, the fire extinguishers.
Twice a year?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a lot of money, but it's,
And then also, I'm sure they do a kitchen inspection too, don't they, for like
well, they do
fire?
that, but that doesn't cost us anything. That
Oh.
is the health department,
Oh,
so.
okay.
Well, at least not as yet, that's not been passed down to us. They do that, they do that.
Well, that's good.
That can be done, I don't know they're coming, they just come. But the fire stuff, they'll show up even if I haven't asked them to come, and basically that's an inspection, it's about
Mhm.
$250 a time that they come.
They probably will do the Ansel fire.
Yes,
And
that
they-
might be annual.
Yeah, it is,
And then the
it
others
is.
are
The other
twice.
stuff, the Board of Health,
Yeah.
they just like to do spot checks.
So, I mean, I've always had, let's say, an annual maintenance contract for copiers, but for all of the other stuff, HVAC, that's new. There's a few other things that have added to the budget, and we really almost didn't have a line item for them, but they're in there now. So that's gone up a bit.
Mhm.
Looking at this. Office supplies, you know, we're maintaining a line item that's, you know, we still need supplies, and also for some of the building things that might need to be purchased, that's being maintained as well. Postage. Way down is, you know, mileage reimbursement, we really don't put in for that, we still could, but we're not doing as much traveling back and forth as we used to, other than maybe 2 meetings. But with the formula grant, I've always really used that, if I could, for meeting costs or professional development, so now I will be able to again. So that didn't need to be much. And then the food service budget, we are planning to maintain that. And then equipment, which again, these are the unknowns a little bit, but IT has made me aware between the security system, the phone system, the wireless access, and any number of other things that I don't necessarily see or manage, but do have to maintain, and so those are costs. As well as, you know, unforeseen, we had to replace my senior center workstation, that went into equipment, so there are things. So those.
And are those outside costs, or are those costs that are billed back to you from the town?
Those are my costs. Those are my costs.
Okay, and you're paying who?
Well, if it happens, what do you mean? If it happens, I'm paying the vendor.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question on computers before you go on with it?
Mhm.
So one of the things, I know it's been brought up before, but I was just wondering if it should be in here in terms of equipment, is to, and maybe you could even get donations, is to set up like a computer or two, like, you know, for people to be able to come in and use.
Yep.
Um,
Well, I have left a good spot, you know, the equipment, and I just haven't done it yet, but the cafe area and probably the study is one spot.
Yep.
I'm still working on another spot.
Yeah.
That is, so without them being actually cohesive in a room, because originally maybe it was going to be that study area, and it's a lot smaller, frankly, than I
Than you thought, yeah.
And the cafe is good the way it is. In other words, that would be an addition that I don't think would be too well supported. And then the gamer was another place that I thought there would also be some space for that, but that's not ideal. So, you know, we're just feeling our way. The wellness waiting room is one opportunity. I think it's not really that well used, and it's big enough. So we might be able to put one or
Yeah,
two.
that'd be great.
And we even talked about.
Yeah, like a couple of computers, a lot of the senior
Nook and cranny
centers
right
have
over
a
here.
computer
Right.
room.
A little nook and cranny right over here, that is true.
In
Yeah.
terms of.
You know, so the people that can't afford, you know, to have their own computer, to be able to come in here and check their email or.
So that segment is really roughly, I didn't put that in, it's around 40,000. So in the end, we're looking at about a $300,000 budget for the senior center, if it's approved, and you know, that's a little round, but just so you have a number.
the entire budget.
You know, with the computer, just a thought,
It's not
time,
really
that, the libraries, I noticed in all their, newsletters locally, have a tie-in with the library, someone comes and they give a couple hours, like a week or whatever, and also, there's a drop-in time at the senior center, a couple of sessions, like in the morning and the afternoon. That's down the road, let's get the computers rolling, but I mean, it is great, the idea will get somebody going, helpful, you know?
We have iPads and we have had that in the past, we've been sort of, that just hasn't come back. What we have had to offer people in terms of training, one-on-one assistance, that sort of thing. That would be a good program, and we're trying to bring that back.
We are.
We are. And some tax work-off positions that, again, the time frame for any seniors working for their 100-hour tax reduction is coming to a close, but I've had 3 people in the kitchen cafe, parking, cardio room, program facilitators, help with the newsletter. So those are done, but those have all been staffing here that have helped us. There's been a couple out in the town as well, Widows Walk, Select Board Office. But we will, I think I have a line on a new media assistant, so I think we'll be able to work with another person in the year to come. So generally speaking, it's the calendar year through October. Sometimes they can start a little early if warranted. So that's
So are
something.
you looking for applications now from new people, or
I will take applications for the people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
not necessarily looking for,
Right.
strike
And
that
they
word?
can start up until January.
Yes, technically they would start in January, and again, it's finding a spot, so we can continue the way we've been working. How many more could I support? I don't really know.
How many did you have for this year in total?
Total, I don't have the rough number.
I was just curious.
But,
So you have spots for like, what, 25 or
Total across town
we
was
could do 25 or
25-ish.
30 if we have the positions in the town. But, it was a slow regrowth after
After
the COVID
COVID?
shutdown,
Yeah.
so, I'm optimistic for next year.
Because I know there are a few people that have asked me about it, and, I didn't want to encourage them to apply, but you're open to
Yeah,
applications.
I came up short with, maybe having someone to send somewhere. I just didn't have that process. But we did plenty, at least 15 to 20, I would say. So I also added, I don't know if you care about this little graph here showing the numbers, sort of daily attendance for the senior center over the last year and almost a half. 15 months anyway. Everybody have it? Did I get it in there? So going back to July 2021, well, it was busy. Actually, it was busy. We were just starting, we had just really reopened the month before. But if you can see the climb.
In July and August doubles.
Mhm. So here we are back in this most recent month, September, so it's up there as one, maybe May is always busy. September, October are usually very busy. March was up there, that was nice, but. So I think the pattern is good. I think July and August dipped a little more than I might have expected, but we did have a very popular exercise instructor off for the month. So, that might account for some.
And is this based on people keying in, like when they come?
It is.
Yeah, so,
I wanted to mention, because you mentioned it the last time about the board being visible. I volunteered on Wednesday, the art program, and
the what program?
the art program that's once a month,
I don't know what that is.
Art for your mind.
Oh, art, okay, I'm with you.
and I'm gonna do it in the future. And it worked out great. I checked in people, and I was a greeter. And then I told them with the thing, and the time went fast, and the person at the desk enjoyed it too. It gave her a break. And so I heard from Jess today, and she asked me, and I'd like to continue it. But as far as statistics, I assumed how everything was in the library. A lot of people,
Sneak in.
because it was free, I think maybe, wanted to go past me. They didn't want, they were heading to the art. And the minute I went, it was fine. And they loved, hello, I'm Jerry, or whatever. And it wasn't that, it's just, I don't think they really realize the importance of the checking. There was a lot of people that I kinda, and I got them back the best I could.
Yep.
But just a thought,
That's why I was saying, you know, it's probably not a perfect sign, it's sort of like all the people coming over the board.
Well, the front desk, believe me, they are helpful, and any of us that might notice, perhaps people not, and we hate to be, you know, that rigid, but we
Yeah,
do say.
but I'm just saying, I
please check
think
in.
in your favor, the numbers are probably even higher.
I'm definitely from my one experience coming, yeah, you know, wow.
There were some new people, there's always new faces in that, and that was one of the.
And like even ones that, oh, you know who I am, you know?
We do get a lot of that too, and I do, and sometimes, you know what, that's fine, that's fine. So if we can accommodate, we will.
Did they know they had to check in? Was there a sign or?
There's no sign, I was thinking of that, you know, like where the couch is,
Yes.
please check in. You'd see it as you're coming in the door, but,
That's a good idea.
it's just, you know, it would be, as you're coming in, because sometimes you get bogged down, you're gonna ask a question, what, it'd be on your mind. But no one had a problem with it, and they loved it even more, I did, and it didn't bother me at all. But I think it's a great suggestion. It was interesting how everyone was so receptive to it.
To having a greeter, to having
Yeah,
someone.
they loved it.
Yeah,
I was
think
like,
it's a-
wow, you
Yeah,
know?
it is nice.
And they loved the machine too. I said, they'd do the thing and I'd do the rest of it and it would take 2 seconds, we'd have a little chit chat. Everyone introduced themselves. It was interesting for a first time experience of my own, new. I really enjoyed it and I think they enjoyed it. You
So
know?
you're volunteering to be the official greeter for the senior center?
At the yacht, yeah.
They are.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll start with that.
And
So
that's
we'll
a
start-
happy group, I mean, we have a lot of.
I
happy
enjoyed
groups.
it.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
really
great.
did and I think,
I think it's awesome. That's-
it was, I liked that they liked it,
Mhm.
because what did I know to expect? They could have, what's she doing here,
Oh.
you know? It could be anything, it was nice.
And everybody's always, that program is so well received, it's always great. So, very nice, and thank you for doing that.
Oh, my
That was
pleasure.
very helpful, really helpful to listen.
And I think it really did make things,
We sort of-
I never paid attention to how many times I've been, you know? I'm like one of those, click and go, but it's a full house.
I mean, the hardest part is asking people to carry their card.
Mhm.
And I go to the supermarket frankly, and I say, no, I don't have my card. So, I mean, I can't say I don't relate to
But
the
you
fact
can
that I
check
don't.
it without a card.
But I
too.
learned that thing, you can put it in on somebody else's number and do the
Or you can even
guess
just punch it up
and
that's
fill
what-
it in, your name and telephone. And
All
then
you
we'll
have-
register it.
But you know what, Susan, if you're gonna do that again, all you have to do is, if somebody goes up, because I never use my card, I just type, all you have to do is type in your first name and you punch in your phone number and it automatically
Yeah,
comes up.
but you need the access of a card.
No, you don't
No, you
actually, and I'm
don't.
worried, so if you're doing guess doesn't count if you're checking.
Oh, I did some guess, okay.
No,
so-
in other
so-
words, if you go down there and try it yourself, you just plug in your name,
Where though?
yeah, like it'll say, I
Just
don't
touch
have
the
a
screen,
card.
you just touch the screen.
Yeah,
Touch
so
the
you
screen.
just touch the screen and, you know, you touch, I don't have my card.
Okay, so that's real easy too.
That's-
And then
Okay,
it's
so
first
touch the
name,
screen.
phone number, and your name will come up.
Okay, oh, your name comes
Yeah,
up.
test it out.
Oh, okay, because we were just putting the first and the telephone and it worked. And it only took 2 seconds, but I had it activated, I thought, with the, okay. So we got one step out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a price to that? I can't remember on the art for mine.
No price. I mean, we pay her out of donations that we've received. It was funded by the Education Foundation for the first year. This is only the second year, which would be coming to a close. I'm not actually sure, maybe December. But with the break during the 2020 time and then restarting in 2021, I forget. But Joanne Papandrea's donations from her family is what's covering it now.
Oh, that's nice.
Um,
I was just wondering what would the benefit be to making everyone log in or whatever, check in? If
Well,
they
it's for
did,
it's for the numbers.
It's for
oh,
the,
just for the
It's
numbers.
for the numbers, so that, yeah, because
Well,
she needs to have that.
One, we like to know who's,
Yeah.
on that one, we do like to know who's coming, because are we setting up 60 chairs or 85 chairs?
Okay.
Because really, this time, registered was 73. Now, ordinarily, there's always walk-ins, so we don't really rely on the number of registrations. And then, of course, there's always some that don't show, even though they thought they were coming or they forgot. So honestly, it was a pretty full room, and I would say it was somewhere close to 75 or 80, because that's how many chairs we set.
In a very short period of time coming in, like, around 10:30 to 11, full action. you know?
Now, we were thinking of trying to change that month, and I mean,
The time slot.
the time slot, thank you, the day and time slot, because of the parking nightmare. But honestly, she doesn't have a lot available, and even what is available, there's always downsides to those changes, and we're on such a roll that I'm afraid to do it. I really don't want to, and it would move it to the afternoon, and even though we could use some, excitement in the afternoons, which are a lot quieter on a couple of the days. I don't know.
You know what's interesting
We're not
though, I
convinced.
know people that absolutely, myself included, have it marked in your book and
I know.
the second,
There is-
Wednesday,
It's true.
11 o'clock,
Yeah.
oh no, because I love it too.
I'm very hesitant to change it. It's a good time, so we're really just gonna
All
try to work
victims
on
of habit,
everything.
and it is a good habit because we've got a full house.
She's good to us, so anyway, we're gonna try not to change. Alrighty, so, and then Jess's report, just to continue along the activities piece. If you take a look at that, for those numbers, everybody understands the unduplicated, right? That means unique individuals, yes. So those are good numbers.
Those are great, 700.
And it also gives you a chance to see, although, some of like the activities most popular, you've seen what those are. But
Lunch.
the top section, the overview, for instance, instructional,
Lunch.
what's in instructional, do you know? It's Mahjong because you're learning Mahjong. It's Bob's classes, Bob Jackman's, because it's an educational setting. I mean, so some of the categories are a little not easily identified what's in them. Recreation is also, there's a few different things in recreation. But anyway, good numbers all the way down. We're not unhappy with that.
And I would just say that the grief support group actually is at 16 now.
That's
I think
right.
we got one more person in, so.
I did know that, but, well, then it's still
And
a
a
high.
wait list, so,
And a wait list, wow.
yeah.
Okay, very good.
Not that we're looking to increase the numbers
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
So in terms of a special event coming up this month, there is a Halloween party on the 31st, a Monday afternoon, in fact. That is planned with the North River Healthcare Agency.
Oh, North Rural Home.
Thank you, Home Care Agency. And otherwise, everything is in the newsletter. We are without our arthritis conditioning class now, which we were holding on Tuesday afternoons, and, people were enjoying it and getting a lot out of it. But he was traveling quite a bit and really not able to sustain it. And we were paying him actually quite well and not really taking the money in, so that was one of those relying on the formula grant to keep that going. So we'll try to find another instructor for that because people did like it. And one of the other new offerings this month, coming up I think this week, is a woman coming in to do foot care, cosmetic foot care, and manicures, pedicures. So that's new. Well, the time is in the newsletter because I can't
Okay.
say off the top of my head.
All right.
And Jess tells us that they're booked with waiting lists this month anyway.
Um,
So I'm sure we'll add to it. But that'll be great. And Lillian, for transportation, she's very proud of her numbers, going up, up, up.
Can we take a look at the newsletter?
With an increase, not just due to the fact that we're taking on more of the rides instead of outsourcing them with Social Community Action Council, but also able to take some people to appointments that we would not have otherwise been able to take, but now can provide them with a volunteer escort. So that's been a nice program through Erin and Lillian and Jess to get going, and yeah, it's working, it's wonderful. So I'm happy about that. And she's also added the Market Basket Supermarket to the monthly runs along with Shaw's and the Village Market, so. And I think she's doing Derby shops actually for shopping in November and December.
Yeah, I don't want to get such a.
But we are keeping our 3 drivers very busy, and we still have a 4th driver who's just been out on a medical, so I would say when he gets back, we have more opportunities. So, unless there's any questions, we could move, yes?
One quick question, which I think I missed, when you were talking about with Jess's report, like on the things that we're looking forward to in the fall, there was something you were talking about, you said that you lost an instructor and you were looking for an instructor, what?
It was the low impact arthritis conditioning class.
That gentleman that used to do it, I can't remember his name.
Neil.
Neil.
Yeah, but he couldn't continue to come here. And I mean, we run into that a lot just in general, that if they're not from Scituate or the immediate area, it is hard to schedule them to get them.
And Anita Ahern is coming in, I graduated high school with her.
I did not know
She's,
that.
we're good friends.
Oh, that's so nice, and we really are looking to increase the, everybody loves it that takes part in the workshop. It could be the time, it is afternoon, and again, some people do get busy with some other things, but her topics have been right on. I can just tell you what those were. Well, this month was mindfulness, I think, and relaxation, and stress reduction she's done, anxiety, depression. But we do have a presentation this month that will be very good, I think, talking about the real ID. Is everybody still wondering what that is? Or whether they need one? 'Cause
Oh, driver's license.
Yeah, if you have a
You gotta
passport,
do
you
it
don't
if you
need one, though.
You gotta do it.
The other thing is that a lot of people don't know, it was when I was going on my trip to Alaska, I had to update my passport this year. And one of the new things that they're doing now is you can get it looks like a driver's license, but it's actually a passport card in addition to getting a passport book.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can use that to get into the federal buildings. If you have a passport and you get the passport card, you don't have to bother going through the whole thing and getting the real ID.
Good to know. Well, Michelle Ellick from the RMV, she's very good. So, you know, I'm sure that's an opportunity to ask some questions like that if people don't know.
Can I come back on something? I don't mean to put you on the spot, Elaine, but how, were you involved with Shine and open enrollment on,
Oh, yeah.
how was that?
The presentation
Was it
that we
crazy?
did on
Was it-
Tuesday went phenomenally. We had between 18 and 20 people.
Good.
I think it was very well received. We had a lot of questions.
Good.
A lot. I sent them all out to the front desk so they could sign up for appointments. And we start on Monday
Yeah.
with
So
open
you were
enrollment.
taking one-on-one appointments for every.
As of Monday, yeah.
I mean, it was already almost booked, so.
Yeah, I was amazed that it was, I had somebody say, I couldn't get an appointment until December. I said, what? And I think that was a misunderstanding because there were November dates available, but it was booked well into November, so.
But it actually doesn't start till Monday.
Pardon?
It doesn't actually start till Monday.
Right, well, it doesn't, actually starts Saturday, but
I
I'm
know,
not gonna be here.
I didn't realize they never changed the dates to
It's always
coincide.
the 15th of this, of October to December 7th.
I do now realize that, but I didn't always. So, all right then,
Does
so
anybody
we
have
are, again, we are
questions
keeping,
for Linda?
That's the insurance.
Aaron Lamont is here, our outreach
And
coordinator.
that's the insurance advisors. That's the insurance advisors, right?
Open the
Aaron, we're turning it over to you.
Sounds good. To kind of go off of that chart that Linda shared, I spoke with Linda this morning as well, and she gave me some good ideas in regards to kind of revising how I'm populating my numbers. I know that that chart that we looked at previously will skyrocket, especially because a lot of those people a lot of the clientele that I see necessarily don't check in. and it's a big number. So I'm gonna kind of change my ways and go through a different Excel sheet than I've done previously to track all my clients. Because I feel like I wasn't that chart that I was going by wasn't really representing the true number of people that I'm encountering. Because I would count them as one individual, but I may help them in, 8 different avenues, whether it be fuel assistance, food assistance, all these things. So I'm gonna kind of fine tune, Linda gave me some good ideas this morning as to how to track that. So I know that, I'll have a better number for you. I didn't include my numbers today in my report, because again, I do feel like it underrepresents exactly what I'm doing here.
It's not ideal getting the numbers out of my senior center, yeah, she can record, there's phone calls happening all day long that there's no place to put.
Right. And then when you do outreach and you go like to the housing authority or whatever, I mean, it's almost like you have to take it manually or something.
Exactly, so that's what I'm thinking of, and that's how I like things anyway, is pen and paper versus the computer, a little old school in that regard, but, so I'm thinking of just kind of creating my own little spreadsheet way of doing things. I'll write them down and then input them after the fact, just so I have, it's just a true representation of the number of people that I'm helping here. So on my report, just to start, I started with some kind of hot topics. 3 just popular things that are going on in the outreach world right now. Number 1 there is fuel assistance. 'Tis the season for fuel assistance, starting October 1st. Of course, it goes till April at a first come, first served basis. Kind of a strenuous application for some folks. It can be done online, but like I said, myself included, I prefer to do things with paper, so I don't mind helping people through that process. It can be a little bit time consuming, but I know I myself, I went through the training again this year. With South Shore Community Action, and they were very informative and helping me understand exactly what they needed, and so then I can relay that to.
So what are the requirements to get fuel assistance? Just curious.
Yep, so it goes by proof of income. They request, of course, proof of identity, things like that. They also need copies of your fuel bill, oil, gas, electric, and they're now incorporating sewer and water bills as well.
So do you have to be like at a certain minimum
Income level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually, I helped one woman today. She came in, I helped her last year, and she was actually declined. So I was able to be an advocate for her as she was not accepted by the program. And she thought, well, wait a minute, I'm under the income level. For some reason, she just wasn't accepted. She was able to fight it, and they ended up granting it to her. So she's again eligible this year, and so she just submitted her application with me today. So it's just nice to be able to help people just look through things, because it can be a lot. And even with my eyes, that tiny little print, it's tough to see. So I like to just be here for that.
Do you know offhand like what the only reason why I'm asking is because there are people that I work with privately that probably could use help. What is the income cutoff?
I don't have the number with me right now.
Okay.
They break it down to either, monthly or yearly income levels.
So is it like below poverty level or?
It's based on that.
Yeah, it's based on that. And again, I have all my figures downstairs, and they actually just changed them, of course, for fuel assistance and for SNAP, for the food stamps program. But again, I wouldn't want to,
No, I'm not trying to
misquote the number.
Just some numbers on baby guesses.
Right, I want to say it's like,
But around what's the poverty level?
as of right now, I'm not too sure.
Single, maybe 18,000, couple, maybe 28,000. But
It's,
please don't quote me on that.
yeah. I have a chart downstairs that I can show you in my
Because I recently did see the chat for getting acceptance, and it was not quite a bit, but it was more than that you could make.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think
that
it's,
much more as a couple.
yeah.
Specifically for fuel assistance or
Yeah.
for some other, because it's all over the map, whether it's housing, it's one thing, if it's this, it's something
It
else.
was the fuel.
Not consistent.
I feel I want to say it's around 25,000.
Is this the LICA, is what it's called LICA or something?
Like heat, yep. It's the low income heat and
Yeah.
energy assistance program.
Something like that.
Something to that effect. But like I said, I have all of these figures in my office, so if someone calls, I can just pull up my sheet real quick. reference, whether it be a one person, two person, how many people in the home, and then go from there. That's kind of the only guidelines they give us in regards to eligibility, because they do not want us here at the senior centers determining eligibility. They want that to leave that for them. So I just help on the back end and, keep your fingers crossed that, it's all.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, I guess, are charged with sort of being facilitating people to
Correct.
apply.
So I just Googled it here. So it's saying that the Massachusetts low-income limit is 55,950? Is that, sounds high.
I think that's for the Salvation Army. Their Salvation Army also does an energy, it's called the Good Neighbor Energy Fund, and theirs is a little bit higher.
That's much harder to, I don't know, there's not many people that.
Yeah. That one's actually higher, so if I have people that don't qualify and they make too much money from the light heat, then I'll go to the Salvation Army with those people because they have a grander scale. So you can make a little bit more money and still get that help, because that's another thing I see is the people that fall in between. They're not quite poverty, but they're not, rolling in the dough. They're kind of in that middle, as many of us are, and those are the people that
Yeah, so it says here, I think for Massachusetts, gross annual for one person is 42.4, and for two people it's 55.
That was the figures I was seeing around that.
Yeah,
42,
I have them
55.
downstairs. They've sent them to us.
Yeah.
I was just curious, only because, just to be informed,
Mhm.
so if somebody asks me.
We should, we're not sitting, we shouldn't, we should get the numbers right or not talk about them.
Right, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I have them downstairs, so, and they're posted in my bulletin boards as well, so, if, I'm not able to answer the question or whatever, I have them publicly, put out so people can see them, so. So my next little bullet here, is storm prep. That's gonna be something that we're working with. I was hoping to kind of continue this beautiful relationship that we have with public safety, both police and fire and the senior center, and kind of have at least for me, I'm still kind of new here, only a year here at the senior center, so my goal for myself to better educate and better provide services for the community is to have a better understanding as to expectations for storm prep and have more things available for some people. I'm also just going on off of what I heard last fall and winter months with some of our people in Scituate housing and things like that, we're just looking to see what we could do in regards to assistance and just voicing their opinions in regards to that. So I just want to be a better advocate for them and kind of arm myself with that type of knowledge in regards to protocol. Let me see, the next one here, again, it kind of goes off of the public, the public safety. We're gonna also, I think I mentioned it later as well, but we have the hoarding task force, that we attended a meeting a couple weeks ago at this point. So we're gonna be kind of getting back to that post-pandemic in regards to protocol when, someone that does struggle with hoarding or light hoarding. Of course, we're gonna then set our parameters as to what we determine to be hoarding and whatnot. But just how we deal with that. So when the police and fire see it, how it can trickle down to myself as the outreach coordinator and Erica Soares, the town social worker, just to be able to get people help. Because I know personally that, I want to be able to make myself available. So we talked about, I could put cards on the trucks or in the cruisers, information packets, maybe our newsletter, whatever they're willing to do to be able to show that, we have a good relationship and that we're here for people. Because a lot of people don't know that, unless they come here or if they've been in town for a while, a lot of people still may not know that I'm here and what I offer. So I just think about making that connection would be a good thing for people.
So with the protocol, how does that work? Like if if you happen to go to somebody's home, whether it's a friend or a relative, and you observe that there is hoarding, is that something that you report, meaning not you, but somebody would report it to you, or how does that work?
So I've had that exact case, my neighbor, I went to go and check and on them, I didn't see them in a while, and I went into the home for the first time and I saw X, Y, and Z. It also happens a lot, and again, my my drive to work with this task force is because we do see a lot of the hoarders being of the senior population versus of the younger generations. Or most often than not, we have the fire department responding to calls for service. So they go in, oh, I've fallen, I need a lift assist, or I need a ride to the hospital, and then they come in and they see, pathways, big piles, maybe working, or non-working or non-existent smoke alarms or CO detectors. So it's, for them, it's a safety piece, but then we want to not just keep them safe, but then, of course, be more of a resource down the road. So, okay, once we get their home safe, now what? Addressing any mental health issues that may be surrounding this, and just kind of getting them maybe back into the community and with more social pieces. So there's some.
So if somebody calls you to like report their neighbor or something, then what would happen? I mean, you would reach out to that person?
Well, it's really the purview of the health department, I just
Oh,
want
I
to
see.
say, it really is. We are support,
Yes.
and where the population may be the older population, then we just want to assist where we can to help resolve
But
things.
so more would be to go to the Board of Health.
We would too, I mean,
Yeah.
if we got that word, we'd draw in Erica, who would report to.
I see.
Yeah.
I think too, doesn't the town social worker, her name's Manea?
No.
Um,
It's Erica Soros.
Oh, somebody knew that since I retired. She did a lot with that.
She did?
Yeah,
Laura
she had a lot of programs at the library.
Mhm.
And
So that's being restarted somewhat. Erica
Yeah.
has been working, the health department is still on it. We are part of the task force. But it was interrupted, so. we're done.
Yeah, so just to answer your question, basically like we would, it's really case specific, so it's so hard to find cookie cutter answers, because with certain cases, I'll say, do they know that you're concerned? Would you like to can I give you the resources as a friend to then provide to them, or would they be receptive to hearing from me, or things like that.
So it's case by
it's
case,
really
yeah.
case by case, because it could be such a sensitive topic
Yeah.
of, talking about someone's home. Because a lot of the times they get embarrassed or upset, and there may be surrounding factors that I'm not aware of. So that's why, when I do hear from loved ones, I think I usually have a different approach than if I were to hear from the fire and police department, or if I were to hear from the individual themselves. So it kind of depends on how it comes into me, of how I deal with it,
Thank you.
of course. Let's see, so going forward.
So mention the air conditioning, she mentioned.
Right, oh, yep, yeah, so, some of the, just like the previous hot topics from last month, so the AC, install and removal was a success. The men's ministry group at St. Mary's was super helpful with the install in the, early summer months. Deacon Matty helped out, and he had his guys kind of installing, and then I reached out to, Scott Payne, who is the athletic director at the high school, and he helped me get the football captains from the varsity and junior varsity football teams to kind of help with the removal of those AC units. A great initiative. I love involving the youth. I love getting them involved. I really think it teaches them a lot of valuable skills and really makes them appreciate what they can do, and and we actually had a lot of the kids make connections. Hello. I love them to make connections.
Better than never.
It is. So it was just a really nice thing, and I really hope to foster that relationship that we have with them, and continue that with other initiatives that
Luckily, it was Jess and Erin that went to the meeting with all the athletes, because they were both captains of their
Yeah.
various
Yeah.
athletic sports.
Yeah, so it was nice to be able to, connect with them, and, like I said, the athletic director over there is doing a really great job. They had all the captains do certain trainings, to be eligible to be called a captain, which was really nice. Different personal skills and how to coach people and encourage their peers. It was just a really nice
So it wasn't
thing.
just a popularity.
Exactly, it's more than that now, and I absolutely, I love what he's
Great.
doing over there, so, yeah, I thought this was a great thing. And I know JD and I had talked about different groups at the high school and incorporating not just the student athletes, of course, but, going to the arts, with different art clubs and drama and all these things, and, of course, our, human resource, our community group, I'm forgetting the name
We're
of
working
it.
on it.
We're working on it.
Interact.
The
Yeah.
intergenerational group?
Interact.
Interact, yeah, so just getting them into the community and helping, and I just think it's such a great thing. So I want to be able to foster that and hopefully keep it going. And so basically my initiatives going forward, like I mentioned, the hoarding, it's kind of like a work in progress. Let me see, store prep, more specific things, like we're gonna have policy and procedure. I guess they already have, fire and police already have their own policy and procedure, but we'll be working with Linda for me to have a better understanding as to, what's expected, how I can help when these storms come about, and our kind of response, if you will, in regards to that. I've also spoken with Scituate Community Christmas, and they're willing to help out and fund any sort of blankets, flashlights, all these things that we may have on hand for those who need, which I think is also another great thing. Let me see. So the Scituate housing, the folders. So this was another great initiative that we've started slowly, because again, we're still inundated with the day-to-day of our jobs, of course, but Erica and I are working together for these folders, and we've, brought the idea over to Margie Carr at Scituate Housing with whenever a new resident comes into Scituate Housing, they are presented with a folder of many resources, because if they do qualify for public housing, they qualify for many of the other new government-based programs. So just, again, awareness. I feel like there's so many, so many different things out there, resources for people, and people don't even know they exist.
Right.
I also love getting, speaking with the youth too, because that group from 20 to 40 may not have any idea that we're here, we exist, that there's aid for their aging parents. And I hear that all the time. Oh, my mom's getting there. What can you guys do? And I said, well, I can do just about anything. What do you mean? So I think making the information known and accessible, I feel like we'll get the word out there sufficiently for me. So let me see. And then our resource guide. So this is a big thing, just kind of started. Erica Soros, Jenny Gerbis, who works at Wellspring, she was in my position previously. They came to me and said, would you like to be a part of this and help us find a I think, I'm not missing the title that they wanted, but basically a resource guide that's specific towards the South Shore and, really our surrounding towns here. I love this idea because I know our model, if you will, was the South Shore Elders Services Guide, which is great, but has a lot of different resources in Quincy and Boston in there too,
Yeah.
which may not apply to us.
And there's a lot of resources that aren't in that guide.
Exactly. So we're the hidden gems. So I've reached out to all the outreach coordinators in the area and said, hey guys, give them a couple different topics, home care, all these things.
Handyman.
Handyman, yeah, all these different resources and said, give me your best, and kind of like the resource guides that I've been working on over the past year, we're always kind of changing things. So people that may be on it this year may not be on it next year because maybe there's someone bigger and better to include. So I think it's a great thing. It will be a fluid, editable document that can be shared between the outreach coordinators. And it wouldn't be printed and shared with the public, but the resources would then be shared that way. So I think that's just a great thing that's kind of probably,
A work in progress.
a work in progress. I'm hoping by next summer, but we'll get there. So I think that's a great thing. And so for room for improvement, let me see, oh my gosh, continuing education. I love the idea of always continuing my education. We have our MCOA, our Mass Council on Aging, conference next week. Yep, next Wednesday, I believe. So that'll be great. I learned so much. I'm kind of new to this position still after only a year. I'm still learning every day, and I think that's a great thing. I have a great team around me to be able to help me, and I think we should always be learning, no matter what we're doing or how proficient we are in things. So I think that's really important. Let me see. What else do I have on my itinerary here? Let's see this. So the Commission on Disability. That's going to be not this Saturday, but next.
Oh, the accessibility awareness fair, I
Accessibility.
was just gonna say, you should mention it.
Yeah, yep. So that fair will be not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I think it's 22nd, I believe.
It is.
That sounds right.
The 10th, yeah, I think it's 10 to 11, 10 to 1, excuse me. And Lillian and myself will be there. We'll have
Where?
a table.
Where is that?
The high school.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Oh, this is the health fair?
Yes, it's
It's the
the
accessibility awareness
accessibility
fair
awareness.
that the Commission on Disabilities.
Oh, interesting.
Organizes this.
Yeah.
It's great.
So it'll be nice, and this kind of hits home for me.
Commission on Disability.
Yeah.
So are there different other groups that are there too?
So it's a fair.
Us or?
Oh, we're invited to
Yeah.
participate. I actually do have a list downstairs of all the vendors that are participating. I don't have that with me.
It's a
right
very
now.
large number.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
third or fourth time they've done, I'm gonna say third.
It's the 22nd.
But
From-
it's very
Correct,
valuable.
yep.
I mean,
From
we're
10
asked
a.m.
obviously
to 1
because we
p.m.
provide
At the high school?
Correct.
resources.
Yep.
The van, for instance, is
Right.
something that people should be aware of for the disabled as well as the older population, so they'll have information about that. Kaplan is getting pulled in by us, so actually their representative will be there with, I think, Erin and William. And then there might be some other.
Yeah, I just think it's a great thing, and this just touches me because I deal with a lot of the clientele that I deal with have differences.
So how do we promote that? The accessibility
Well, they are,
Oh,
but
they
they
are.
have
Yeah,
flyer,
fair?
we
Yeah,
post
they
the
have-
flyer and,
I'm just trying to figure out,
We
you know,
can do more
how do we
for
get the
them.
information out to people to attend?
yeah,
Right. What is the actual name of the fair? What is it called, or the event?
the
Accessibility.
accessibility awareness.
The accessibility awareness, I'm just trying to, I'm assisting.
Oh, for minutes, yes, yes.
Now,
I
the
can
town
give her a
has,
piece of
the
paper.
town has sent out flyers and what have you, that, but if you're on the town email list, you would have got this,
Okay.
most of the past with it, so.
I don't know if I got the flyer onto the bulletin board today, but it was in my hand, so it's somewhere.
We'll print, we'll put it everywhere.
It's
Um,
next to that email that was blank.
Yeah, right?
But it's great.
Yeah, it'll be a great thing to be a part of, you know. I like to always be that advocate for people that may not have their own voice or may not feel confident enough to ask the questions and reach out for the help. So I think it means a lot to me to be a part of.
Well, I do want to reiterate that just there are, people walk-ins, there are phone calls, there are needs that crop up that we haven't anticipated. There are people walking in who need immediate housing resources. And that is all flowing to Erin, and so it is a job that really, it's hard to get a handle on sometimes. It's just a service.
Day by day, case by case.
Exactly. There's something new every day,
Yeah.
and I wholeheartedly mean that, 'cause at least there's 3 or 4 things every day that kind of make me think, oh, well, okay, and I just kind of store that, and okay, I'll learn, and kind of just use these experiences and keep adding them to the filing cabinet in my brain. And my whole idea of everything that I do with the different programs and things is all just about being proactive. You know, like the fuel system, for example, I know that's coming every year. I sign up for training and I'm able to educate myself so I can help other people. I, schedule everybody in appropriately and things like that. Same thing with like the AC removal and install and removal, excuse me. We know that comes every year. Summer comes. So just to have programs in line so we know what to expect, so we're able to take those walk-ins and then help the people that need instant assistance, because all these programs are already set.
Yeah, like one thing would be, which I'm sure you already have on your list, is like snow removal. Particularly, elderly people that can't shovel on their own.
Yeah.
Or even
Yeah,
people that
that's-
can
yeah.
shovel on their own but really don't want to.
I mean, and think about what would you suggest, you know what I mean? If we can grab kids, wonderful,
Yeah,
but
that's
otherwise, what would you suggest, we
Well, how
really
about
don't
the
have.
captains of the football team?
Yeah.
The season will be over.
Yeah. It's great too, like I have like that resource, the list that I think I showed you guys probably
The last time.
the last time I was here, yeah. And that's one of them is snow removal.
Right.
And my goal, I have to put a timeline on it, but one of my goals is to go through all these lists, because at this point I probably have, I would say, upwards of 20 different categories, whether it be home healthy. It's whether it be snow removal, landscapers, handymen, like all these things, right? They all come with recommendations from, residents in town, but my goal is to contact each and every one of these personally and introduce myself, make that connection, and build a relationship, and then talk to them and say, okay, well, if I'm promoting you, would you be able to help? Do you guys offer a senior discount? Again, if I'm promoting you, would you be able to, just help out in any way and all these things? Because some of them don't take any money. Yeah.
When I spoke to you about helping out with that class,
Yes.
I had done a little bit of it on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and I was also writing an article for the paper that I write for on senior discounts.
Yeah.
So I used your same list, the resources,
Perfect.
and I called a bunch of those people to see if I could get a quote, do you offer senior discounts?
Yeah.
Very, very few said that they did. They were like,
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah.
So I didn't include many of them in there.
Yeah.
But,
And that's where I think,
if there were an incentive for
yes.
them to do that, that would be great. because
So that's where I'm thinking, because I could be a source of marketing
Yeah.
for them. I could market for them.
Right.
Hey, this is John Smith's landscaping company, and I'm gonna promote him to everyone that asks for him, but he's gonna, all my senior friends, or whether we say senior discount or low income discount, because maybe that's down the road even more so, maybe that's something we offer too, to not just the seniors, but, because again, I work with our resource a lot, and she deals with the younger population. Of a lot of my resources don't apply to them because they're for that 60 and over group, so I'd love to do that as well. But I'll be able to reach out to them, make the connection and say, listen, I will promote your business, if you're able to do X, Y, Z.
Huge task in here to
Very
cover
much so.
one of them.
Yeah.
And then I lost my verb after a while. Because they all said no.
Yep.
And some of them were,
Very,
what, a discount, what do you mean a senior discount?
yeah,
I mean, a discount for people at a certain age,
Yeah.
might need your services. Oh, no, we don't do that.
Yeah. So and so that's where I'm hoping to
I
kind
guess
of leverage
finding
our
those
position
that
here.
would be more reasonable
Yeah.
for people that need their help.
And, maybe if you did offer, say, really nice looking directory. I don't know how much money that would cost once a year to put it out.
Yeah,
You tell them you'll get a free ad if you are willing to offer some discount.
yeah,
We'll give you a free ad, and this directory goes out to how many thousands of people come to the senior center,
yeah. And stemming off of that, we could add that into our,
That's a big cost.
yeah.
That's a big
We could add that to our resource guide that we're sharing with the South Shore, so I think that's why I love this type of conversation, because new ideas pop up every day that, like, yes, we have to do that. And there's so many ideas.
Right.
And again, those are just some of the big ones that are
That's great.
coming down the pipe, so.
But I use that list all the time.
Go ahead.
Every time, well, I'm in real estate too. So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to
Need
know,
something,
landscaper or somebody that can fix a pipe, I
Yep.
look on your list all the time.
Oh, that's good.
I'm glad, that's
Really?
good.
Okay, well, can you
Yeah.
pass that list?
I
around?
know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I have a big folder, of course, in my computer, and at this point, I want to say I have like 22, maybe 24 different lists. So I'm like, I could, put them on a thumb drive and just pass it out to people or something like that, just because it's a great
Yeah,
thing.
she knows, it's great. Yeah.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions for Aaron?
No, I think that's great.
We
Thank you.
appreciate the initiative.
That
So-
is so pleasant.
Thank you. Likewise. And next month you'll get numbers for me.
Okay.
Because again, I don't want to, I feel like I'm doing the senior service numbers at a service by not including mine, so I do apologize. But I know that you'll see a big spike in the chart that we looked at, once I include those numbers, so. It'll be a good thing.
Very good. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me.
Liaison reports, I heard from Karen Cantor, I know she can't make it today, so I know she's not
No, but
around. Jill Powers, I didn't hear from, but she's obviously not here. Foss, what's going on with Foss tonight?
Bosses, county events, they're having an English tea / luncheon on the 21st, Friday. That here in the senior center, it's all sold out. There is a waiting list, which is awesome. We think that's wonderful, that we can, do that, and it's just really exciting, and they're really doing a bang-up job didn't really come from that. But, it's gonna be really like an English tea,
Oh, you
Get
went.
cloth.
Cool.
flowered tablecloths and china and teapots, and I'm not into these types of things, but it looks just phenomenal, and they did a tasting sample last week.
How was the
And they
salad?
picked, you were there?
No, I just know.
Exactly.
But I have,
Exactly.
I've seen pictures of it, it looked phenomenal with the different types of, they have these 3-tier plates for the
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 sandwiches.
desserts and the sandwiches, and then we're gonna have 2 different kinds of teas and.
Where is this gonna be?
Here,
Here,
In the dining room.
and they're having a fascinator, well, it's a hat, but fascinator hat contest. So people are dressing up and doing the hats, and I don't know if they're doing the white gloves, I don't know if they can even buy white gloves anymore. But, everybody's really excited about it, and
Is it sold out?
I've just been super surprised by the response.
There's a possibility of something else in November, is that correct?
In November,
Yeah, after Thanksgiving.
well, there was a talk about
The 21st of
the Brown Brothers, but we still haven't received word because the Brown Brothers, there was a illness in the family, and they were not booking anything, so we're not sure what that's coming forward. I just wanted to mention, because Dee reminded me that I didn't mention it last month, that the comedy night that we had in August was actually a phenomenal success. We made over $1,500.
Wow.
And everybody felt like it was a wonderful time. The only thing I would mention that might have been, well, I don't know if you want to call it a complaint, but they ran out of wine
That's a problem.
very early.
It is a problem.
Huh?
One kind of wine, right?
One kind of wine, I don't know, but they ran out very early. And that is probably on us, because we didn't know what kind of
You drank too
response we
much.
were gonna get. And we told them we were gonna have 50 people, and we had 130. So,
Great, yeah.
but
That's right,
otherwise,
we were letting more people in and then forgot to.
right, we never upped our
Wine.
expectation list to them, so we just, it's on us, it's a learning
We
process.
like the comedian.
It was excellent. We
Yeah,
loved it.
Yes.
Dee was the one that told me I'd like to talk about it.
I bumped into them the next day at the brewery in Marshfield, but I'm just saying, I bumped into 2 of them together.
Are you gonna do it again, since it was such a big success?
I'm sure we'll do something like it again, I don't know if we do the same in museums, but
I wrote them a little, acknowledgement or something that they could post because they wanted to do more of those. And if we liked it, they were happy if we could maybe do a testimonial. So I did write that.
they had asked us to put together some sort of a promo flyer type thing, and I believe that that's being worked on. I haven't seen the results of it yet. We did agree to that. So, and we have supported Matt Brown here last month, and again, we will support it again this month. And you had mentioned somebody coming in November that will be, this is from the fund that was set up in memory of Jim Young, Jean's husband, so. And maybe something more coming from that. We still do have some money for that. So we're moving forward. We're doing well.
very
Can I
good.
give a shout out to the Shine, Elaine and Rick, at the meeting the other day, they're really excellent. I just can't say enough about them. Yeah.
Oh, good.
You mentioned it earlier, Johnny. Rich was a wonderful addition.
Very good.
Backed me up perfectly.
Not Rick. Yeah, sorry.
It was a tag team
Yes,
match.
it was very good, and it's great.
And now you know what to do?
One with him?
No, I did one earlier this summer in case I get laid off, but, no, they had a session and people went,
Open enrollment presentation, it was, not last week, it was Tuesday.
yeah.
It feels like last week.
Yeah.
So is that for
That's
like
small.
new people that are going in, or?
No, open enrollment presentation, open enrollment is for anybody. If you want to change, you should always check if you have Medicare, if you're a Medicare Advantage or a drug plan, you should check at open enrollment time to see what's going to be changed for next year, because frequently the plan you have will change and will have increased costs, and you should change to a different plan. So that's why you should check every year during open enrollment
I thought, change to a different plan from what, from Medicare?
Yeah,
Not Medicare itself, but Medicare Advantage or the drug plan.
yeah.
Your Medicare.
Those are the supplement plans?
Oh, okay.
She's like
I
a
mean,
wealth of
Are
information.
you a Medicare already?
I am,
Okay, do you have a supplemental plan?
I do,
Okay.
but it's outside of Medicare. It's
Yeah.
from with Harvard Pilgrim Health.
Right, but it might not be
But
the
it might
best
be-
deal.
it
that you
might
had
be-
there for you.
It might be part of Medicare. I mean, or maybe it's a private thing that you,
Yeah, it's called
Medigap?
it's called Enhance.
Oh,
You probably have a drug plan.
That's the
I
drug
do.
plan.
That's what you should have checked.
Oh.
They changed that, this is supposed to be my boss update.
Sorry, I did it.
That's okay.
I did a great
Okay.
job.
But
Yeah, I'll
it's-
talk to you outside of the meeting then.
Okay, you just make, yeah, that's fine.
What do you do, just make an appointment?
Yeah, good luck there.
I mean, this is a different bend to what people turning 65 need to hear, that's a whole different.
Yeah, this is
thing.
more- this is tot- This is not a new enrollee to Medicare.
Oh, okay.
This is somebody who's already on Medicare, who needs to check and make sure that the plan they're on
Their plan.
is the best one for them. I mean, you can do it yourself, but a number, a majority of senior citizens who have these plans really are not comfortable doing the
Yeah.
computer lookup.
Different
And,
things to look at.
yeah, there's 46 Medicare Advantage plans this year, as of October 15th. And they're all different.
Yeah.
You know, HMOs, PPOs, some of them are, most of them are no premiums. I'm doing my shine cup. And the drug plans changed too. Last year, the cheapest drug plan from Medicare was $7.40 a month. This year, it's $6.20.
Really?
But you need to check because the drugs might have gone up. So the premium is lower, but the drug goes up, so that's,
And the co-pays are probably higher.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, and then we have the new insulin thing that's coming through that now you can't be paid more than $35 a month, but that came through so late that it's not included in the plan finder that we look at, so you don't want to hit my plan, it's my problem.
So did you go
Okay.
training for that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the state.
In order to be certified as a sign council, we had to go through 12 weeks of 4-hour trainings, and then an exam, and then mentoring. And then every year, you have to go through another review, and then another exam.
It's a great role, it's an integral role, it's a very important role.
Yep.
It's here and it is a lot.
It's a lot of
But the
data.
training is worth it because.
And it's great, because, we can really help people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the questions that were asked, you know that they really didn't have a good grip on the whole thing.
No, and you get Joe Namath on the TV talking about his,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just not fair.
It's not fair. Joe makes me angry when I see it.
Oh, yeah. He might have been a great football player, but he's not great for
With the advice.
But he gets paid for it, he gets paid for it, and Medicare said it was okay to use it, but
It's a disgrace.
Well, I've seen him.
Does anybody have anything else for Elaine on FOS? So you're maybe thinking of something in November. You don't know about Brown Brothers?
But yeah, I don't have anything definite on that, but hopefully I'll get, what we were looking at was the Saturday after Thanksgiving for the Brown Brothers, but
But I've got
it's not,
five questions.
it's not definite yet.
Okay.
No, it just-
Does anybody have any other issues,
Because I know she knows.
business, old, new? Our next meeting is November 10th, when, or Thursday?
Thursday, November 10th, now that it's the night before the holiday, so I guess we do meet again before that luncheon, we'll say.
The luncheon is actually on the 11th.
Right.
We can set up like right
We
after
have
the
a
board meeting.
motion to
Yeah,
adjourn.
I
I'd like to
know.
adjourn the meeting.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Pizza and wine for everybody that helps with the setup, just
Shades
saying.
closed.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Very good. Thank you, Susan. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Great job.
Okay,